If you're looking to navigate the real estate market in Barrie as a first-time home buyer, you might want to stick around. Before we get into it though, if you could head down below and hit that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to stay updated with all of our content. And if you have any questions that we didn't answer throughout the video, we will make sure to get them answered ASAP. Very first thing you're going to want to do when you're looking to navigate the Barrie real estate market as a first-time home buyer, probably the most important, in my opinion, get yourself pre-approved or at least talk to a mortgage broker. There is nothing that is going to help you more than knowing what you can actually afford.
You need to get a true approval or a pre-approval where you're talking to a mortgage broker or talking to someone at the bank who actually does a credit report on you and reviews all of those things. Now, in most cases, if you've got less than 20% down, you're going to still need an approval by the insurance company, whether it be CMHC or Genworth or other insurance companies. But you can get a general approval from the bank. You still have one step further to go to get your mortgage insurance approved, but at least you know you're that far down the road. So make sure they do a full approval on you, not just, hey, you make this much, so therefore you can afford this. It's extremely disappointing when push comes to shove and you find out that your ratios don't work out and you can't afford that house that you've fallen in love with. Everything is online nowadays, but it's not so bad if you just have an opportunity to talk to someone and get, the true hard numbers. And then from that, what do you do next, right? Well, maybe you should just start getting into some houses. So there can be two houses that are side by side. They're both 1,200 square foot homes as an example, but one, when you walk into it, because there's so many walls and the layout of it, it feels more like 800 square feet, where you walk into another one that's 1,200 square feet that feels like 14 or 15. And what's going to be the best for you? What style do you want? And our recommendation is get into all of them. Get into back splits, side splits, into bungalows, into 2 stories, just so you're going to know what that type of house feels like for you and does it meet your needs. And one of the challenges we have when we take people like, oh, I don't want to bother you, I don't want to bother you. Well, that's what we do, right? Get the more doors that you get into and properties that you get into to take a look at, the better understanding that you're going to have. Is 2 bedrooms on the main floor sufficient if you're in a bungalow? Is 3 up, 1 down, 3 bedrooms up, 1? Do I need an ensuite? Do I need a second bathroom on the main floor? So there's lots of different things like that you need to start understanding through the process.
And an important thing to note is when Dad says something feels like 1,000 square feet or feels like 800 square feet, it's going to sound like a nothing burger to you right now. You're going to understand throughout the process what it feels like to you just as you're going through stuff. And one of the most important things that you can do to help you understand that is to find yourself a good realtor. You do want to make sure that you mesh well with that person and you feel comfortable, because there are questions and conversations that might pop up throughout, the home buying process that you need to be comfortable talking about or discussing with your realtor, because at the end of the day, they're representing you. And if you can't tell them something involving the purchase, why are you even with them?
Hopefully you end up building a lifelong relationship with them and you use them over and over again.
When it comes to first-time home buyers, what are some of the questions that you've had over the years that maybe stand out as peculiar or niche that someone watching might think, oh, I hadn't thought about that, or I was looking for the answer to that question?
The one that we get a lot, actually, is it okay if my mom and dad come and look at the house with us? And we find, we're more than happy to accommodate whoever wants to come look at the house, but understand that the house is the house, and there was an ad that was running on TV where the dad comes in and he holds a glass to the wall and things like that, and listening as a house whisperer, etc. More than happy to bring in as many people as you want in the house, but just understand that the information that they're giving you, make sure that it's valuable, not just an opinion, because they may or may not want you to be buying a house right now.
If you have family coming to visit, obviously everyone, for the most part, seeks, the approval of their family, and it's great, if mom and dad can come in and approve of the home that you like. But at the end of the day, it's your home that you're searching for.
Aww. The other thing that you have to understand when you're buying your house is it's not mom and dad's house that you're moving into. So a lot of expectations that people have are a lot higher. So I'm coming from mom and dad's, that's a 2,500 square foot, 2-story with a finished basement, etc. You're not going to get that house. You have to set, as Jake said, realistic expectations for yourself as well, and just understand that it's going to be your house and that you're going to put your own finishing touches on it, and it will be smaller generally than what you're coming from living with mom and dad.
You've successfully found a house that you love and you want to put an offer in it. Well, what does that mean?
Your buyer's agent has what's called a fiduciary duty or a responsibility to do a market evaluation on that property to find out where value is. So that's part of there. So that will help you in the offer process and where you feel you should go to start your price.
Yeah, absolutely. The listing agent obviously does their part, but their job is to make sure that it gets as much money as possible, whereas the buyer's agent's duty is to get you that house for as little as possible. Most offers, you're going to have conditions. The two most standard conditions are financing and inspection. Financing is exactly what it sounds like. It's making sure that the mortgage is all set up and everything's good to go financially so that money changes hands on closing date. And your inspection is finding a qualified home inspector to come in, take a look at the property, and then based on that report, you say, yeah, I'm okay to go forward, or no, I'm not. It's not just inspection gets done, clause is out. It's inspection gets done with a satisfactory report to the buyer.
And a couple things can happen after that. So with financing, as an example, the other reason why we put that condition in there is we want to make sure we get a satisfactory appraisal. If you pay X for the house, we want to make sure that the property appraises for that value. And also with the inspection, when you're finished the inspection, one of three things can happen. As Jake said, you can accept that inspection and go, okay, I'm fine with it, and continue on with the purchase, or you can go, oh, there's way too much work to be done here, I'm going to walk away, and in which case you get your deposit back. And in the third case is you go, I'm expecting this much work, but not this much, so you renegotiate to get to another price. So that you have financing, inspection. If you're buying a condo, one of the things that needs to be in there is what's called a status certificate. So what a status certificate does is reports the strength of the condo corporation. Has there been special assessments? Is there assessments on the particular unit that you're in? How much money do they have in reserves? So generally that is paid for by the seller, so they pay $100 to $300 to get a status certificate. They generally have about 10 days to get that to you, and then the clause reads that your lawyer then has 4 days to read that clause or read the status certificate and find out if it is satisfactory to you. And at that point in time, you decide whether or not you want to go ahead with removing that condition or not. Because down the road, condo fees change, and they will change each and every year. But what you want to make sure is that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, you're not going to get hit with some special assessment and it's going to cost you an extra $15,000 or $20,000 to get stuff done with your condo.
Yeah. You have got your house. Closing day is fast approaching. What can you expect?
Well, the first thing you need to do on closing day is on the morning of, you should do a walkthrough. So there's going to be things in your offer that were supposed to be included, as an example, fridge, stove, washer, dryer, all those things. You want to go in to make sure that the elements are working. All of the things that are supposed to be left are left, window coverings. The other is some sellers have a tendency to leave you a nice little treats like 10 or 15 bags of garbage in the garage. So you should do a walkthrough prior to. If there was work to have been done, before closing, just to make sure all of that gets taken care of and noted. And then if there is any problems with it, if you're in there first thing in the morning, you can notify your lawyer so that you're not trying to fix it afterwards.
Outside of the actual condition of the home, what you're going to need to worry about come closing is your closing costs, which come to roughly 2% of your purchase price, the vast majority of which is your land transfer tax, which is just entirely the city going, oh, that's a purchase, we're going to take a piece of that. Thank you very much.
So as a first-time home buyer, though, you're entitled up to a $4,000 rebate on your land transfer tax. So if you are a first-time home buyer, you will get that back, and it's an in and out. So you don't have to pay it and then get it back. Your lawyer will just do an adjustment with it on closing. And you can find there's many websites, just Ontario Land Transfer Tax, and if you want to, you can punch in your purchase price, and that will give you what your land transfer tax is.
But yeah, once you're actually into your home, first thing I would highly recommend doing is changing your locks. The main thing is you don't know how many copies of the key were made for the property beforehand.
The other is filters in your house. You've got a furnace filter, you've got all those different kinds of filters in your home. Change them when you move in, then you've got a start date for them. So you know when to change your furnace filter and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yep.
And
on top of filters, while you're there, is your smoke detectors as well. Regardless of when the ones that are in the house when you buy it were installed, put your own in. That way you know for a fact this is when they went in, this is when they need to get changed. It just leaves everything more up to you instead of relying and hoping that everything was done properly by the previous owner.
And one of the other things that we recommend as you're moving in, so we have, for an example, stickers for our clients that when they're packing their stuff up, it says this goes in the kitchen, this goes in here. So usually with first-time buyers, people don't hire movers. They've got their buddies and friends helping them move. So what this allows you to do is you don't have to be standing there micromanaging them. Tag all of the stuff, kitchen, bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. Makes it a lot easier for the move. And if you are supplying drinks for them, don't give them the drinks until after they're finished all of the move, because if you do it beforehand, the move never gets done. And if you're buying a condo, the one thing you have to do in 90% of the cases, you have an elevator. You'll need to contact the property management company and book that elevator. Make sure you do that well in advance, because there's nothing worse than showing up with your moving truck and they don't know the first thing about when you're coming. Usually there are 4-hour blocks that you get them in, but it depends on the building itself. It might be down as small as 2 hours. So that's either generally through the property management company or at least go through your real estate agent to get that booked for you, because it's a royal pain if you don't get it done.
That just about wraps up what you would need to know to navigate the city of Barrie as a first-time home buyer, from start to finish, from you got no idea which way is up to keys in the front door, house is now yours, right? If you have any questions about anything at all, please feel free to reach out. More than happy to field anything. If we happen to, miss a topic that maybe you wanted covered, or question popped into your head because of something we said, more than happy to answer them.
Whee! Come on, get me out of here! Woohoo!